Hey guys, this is Adam from PBR Hobbies again. This is the last kind of little build-up video of our ECX, the little 124 scale ECX Barrage. This is kind of my take on hop-ups and what mine looks like after a little while here. We're working on building a pretty decent sized little 124 scale crawling course, and I'll get some video of that here later. But this is my ECX Barrage that I've upgraded. At first you can see I've done a Toyota kind of hard body here. It's definitely a neat little upgrade. This is an AMT 1/20th scale Toyota body. It came with like a full bed, and it's got a little, if you can see that, it's got like a little faux interior in there. It's kind of hard to see with the glare, but yeah, I got a little faux interior in there, and I've done some other things to the outside. As you can see, these are the 124 scale or 1-inch beadlock wheels from RC 4-wheel drive. These ones I think are about 50 bucks for the full set of 4. They've got stamped steel ones too, like you can see on some of the other Barrages I've got going on here. This is the stamped steel. You can get these for about 20 bucks from RC 4-wheel drive. I've also got some RC 4-wheel drive rock locks with some Crawler Innovations micro foams. Nice little setup, nice and soft. I've tried playing with no foams, with stock foams, and I've settled on these Crawler Innovation foams. They're only like 5 bucks to do all 4 tires, which wasn't too bad. Take a look under the hood here. I've got the body hinged, so I ended up upgrading the servo. I don't know if you guys can see that very well or not, but there's a Savix, which one is that, 0265 micro servo. I've flipped the motor around, motor and transmission, which requires you also to flip the skid plate. So I flipped that around, get a little bit more weight bias forward. I've done the pinion mod. You can't really see it, but basically you take the pinion gear out of a servo. You're looking for the smallest gear inside the servo, and you carefully pry that off the motor, and then you can put it on the motor shaft inside the transmission here. I took a pair of wire dikes and kind of marred the motor shaft up a little bit, and then slid the motor gear on, and I haven't had the pinion gear shift at all. Some of the pinion gears inside the servos are different sizes. I'm running a 10-tooth. I've seen as small as an 8-tooth. An 8-tooth takes some dremeling on the transmission case to get the motor to shift over far enough to engage the spur gear well. I've done some other things. If you can see, I've actually made some front links. These are actually glued together. I had to make a front drive shaft as well because I stretched the front wheelbase out to match this body. And so, yeah, I had to move the shock towers forward. I left the servo in the same place, which I think I probably should have shifted the servo forward a little bit further too, but with the way the shock towers and everything mounted up, it really didn't allow me to move it forward too much more. I've also done the bearing kits in both front and rear axles and in the transmission. I think that was a Fast Eddie bearing kit. I think that was like 20 bucks for the whole bearing kit. I also flipped the rear lockouts and the front C-hubs to move the screw to the top, give me a little bit more clearance there. Let's see, what else have I done here? Oh, and then we move on to electronics. So this is the motor, this is the speed controller and receiver. I've got it all packaged up nice and tight here. And this was all in effort to run a 2-cell LiPo, which I run right now. I'm running these little Nanotech 300 milliamp hour 2 cells. Gives you a decent amount of power. My only gripe at the moment right now is the fact that it's still geared a little too tall. I'd like to see it geared a little lower. It's got a lot of wheel speed, and it's got plenty of power to crawl. It's just, if you get it bound up pretty good and you kind of creeping up something, you take a lot of throttle to get it there, and then as soon as it crests the top of whatever you're trying to crawl up on top of, it'll want to lurch forward, you know, kind of unload. So the only way to really get over that would be to gear it down. I think in the future I might try and play with the RC 4-wheel drive V2 transmission for the 18th scale Glende 2. We'll see how that goes. I might do some videos on that later on down the road. The receiver that I'm using in here is out of an old AMZ car that I built we have a mini Z-Track, and so I upgraded the receiver in that. And so it worked perfect because I can set endpoints and stuff with that radio, and it doesn't have to be super technical. But the receiver was really small, so I was able to package all that in here. The speed controller I'm running is a Sidewinder 2 made by Castle. It's their brushless micro, which will run a brushed motor. I think the speed controller was about 60 bucks. I don't know what this receiver would cost if you went out to buy one, because it only works with that radio. It was just something I had laying around. I'm sure you could package up a FlySky receiver in here and still keep it pretty small. Aside from that, it's not too much different. I did cut the springs and I put a little grease on the shock shafts to keep them from bouncing quite so easy. So I'll get some more video of this crawling on the new crawler course when we get it done. We're going to do a comp here on the 15th of December. And see how that goes. We've got quite a bit of interest in it, and so we'll see how that pans out. Got a lot of different guys showing up. Anywho, I've got an ambush that I've been playing around with as well. My brother picked it up and wanted me to play with it, so maybe I'll do a mod video on that later on down the road. But that, as of right now, is my ECX 124 scale Barrage. Thanks, guys.